Yesterday was a big one. Tottenham Hotspur versus Brighton. The 2024-2025 season neared its end. This match felt significant. Spurs were at home, but their league form was poor. Brighton pushed for Europe. A lot was on the line. For both of these clubs, it promised a real battle. Pre-match, the pressure was huge, especially on Tottenham. They desperately needed a result. Manager Ange Postecoglou faced questions. Despite that Europa League win, Brighton under Fabian Hürzeler were known. They play a certain way. Their away form was dangerous. Everyone knew Brighton would compete. They arrived with confidence. The atmosphere was tense. You could feel it inside. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Spurs fans were anxious, hoping for a performance, a sign of improvement. Brighton's fans were loud. They expected a good showing. A crucial game awaited us all. The stage was perfectly set. This game meant so much. It was more than points. Pride was a major factor, especially for the home side. Brighton had European dreams. They were chasing a spot. A tactical fight was expected. Postecoglou versus Hürzeler. We were all about to see how this would unfold. Brighton started incredibly fast. They came out of the blocks, absolutely flying from kickoff. Their high press was immediate. Tottenham looked completely shocked. They were rattled early on. Alex Iwobi scored for Brighton. It was only the 4th minute. A massive statement of intent from the visiting side. Let's look at Iwobi's goal. How did it actually happen? It was poor defending simply, from the Tottenham players. Their midfield was overrun easily. Iwobi found so much space. He took his chance clinically. A real nightmare start. For the home team, Tottenham, and for their nervous fans. What was Tottenham's reaction? Well, they struggled badly. There was no composure seen. When they had the ball, possession was lost cheaply, time and time again. Brighton just controlled the tempo. Spurs could not build attacks. They looked utterly lost out there. No cohesion, no fight. Brighton's dominance continued. Throughout the first half, they kept creating chances. Guglielmo Vicario made saves. He was a busy man. Spurs' defense looked so vulnerable. The midfield battle was lost. Completely and utterly lost. The first half was one-sided. Truly, it was hard to watch. The second half kicked off. Fans wondered about Spurs. Would there be any changes? Could they show some fight? But Brighton started strongly. Again, right from the whistle. There was no let-up, no drop in their intensity. They clearly wanted more goals. You could see it. Then came Carlos Baleba's goal. A stunning moment, really. This was in the 56th minute. It was a moment of quality. Or was it more poor defending? Probably a bit of both. He picked the ball up deep, drove forward with real power. What a strike that was, leaving Vicario with no chance. The impact of that second goal. It was clear for all to see. Tottenham players looked defeated. Their heads dropped immediately. The crowd went very quiet. A sense of resignation filled the air. Brighton were just cruising now. They had complete control of the game, of the ball. Postecoglou looked so frustrated. You have to admire Brighton. Their tactical discipline was key. They held their shape so well, pressed at exactly the right moments, made it totally impossible for Spurs to play their game. Every single Brighton player knew their job, their role. Hürzeler's plan worked perfectly. It really, really did. Section 4. A glimmer of hope and Brighton's decisive blows. Did Tottenham show any fight? Was there any response at all? They got a brief moment. A small glimmer of hope. Perhaps it was just luck. They needed something to happen. The game already seemed over, but football can be strange. It always keeps you guessing, doesn't it though? It came via an own goal. Matt O'Reilly was unfortunate. This was around 79 minutes. Spurs were finally on the scoreboard. A hopeful cross came in, into the Brighton penalty box. There was some confusion. O'Reilly diverted it past his keeper. A lifeline for the home side, or just a consolation? Brighton didn't waste any time. They didn't panic one bit. They quickly extinguished that hope, restored their 2-goal cushion. Another swift Brighton goal came. This showed their ruthless streak. Clinical finishing once more. The game felt truly over. This time, there was no doubt. Spurs' brief hope vanished. Then came the final nail. Alex Iwobi got his second. It was another defensive lapse. From a very poor Spurs side. Brighton exploited the open space. A quick, incisive passing move. Iwobi was calm and composed, in front of the goal. He sealed a dominant 4-1 win. A truly comprehensive victory. Section 5, Tactical Dissection. Brighton's press versus Tottenham's porous defense. Brighton's high press was key. It was central to their win. They pressed with such intensity, relentlessly all game long. Their front players led it, forcing Spurs into many mistakes. Tottenham just couldn't play out, from the back as they like. A tactical masterclass, really, from Hürzeler and his team. So, how did this press work? It was all about coordination. The movements were synchronized. Brighton set traps effectively, especially in the wide areas. Their midfielders joined the press. This denied Spurs any time, or any space on the ball. It was textbook execution of a modern high press. Now, Tottenham's defensive issues, they were glaringly obvious. It wasn't just individual errors, though there were plenty of those. It looked like a structural problem. They were bypassed too easily. In midfield, time after time, the backline was constantly exposed, no real protection was offered, so many gaps for Brighton. Let's look at specific problems. There was a lack of communication, you could see it clearly. Poor decision-making under pressure. Players were caught out of position, frequently, all over the pitch. Brighton exploited these weaknesses. They did it ruthlessly, and they did it repeatedly. A day to forget for Spurs. Section 6. The aftermath, season implications, and final whistle reflections. The final whistle eventually blew. Brighton's players celebrated. A thoroughly deserved great win. Tottenham's players looked dejected, utterly broken by the result. Fans streamed out, disappointed. A stark contrast in emotions. The 4-1 scoreline told the story. A real hammering at home. For the North London club, what was the impact on Brighton? They finished the season in 8th, narrowly missing out on Europe. But it was a strong season. Overall, a positive campaign. Manager Fabian Hertzler praised them. His team showed their potential. They are a team to watch. For next season, definitely. They play exciting football. And the impact on Tottenham, they finished way down in 17th, their worst ever Premier League finish. A complete disaster in the league. The Europa League win helped. It saved their season, somewhat, secured Champions League football. But huge questions now remain. For Postecoglou and the board, this was a shocking display. So what about Postecoglou's future? Chairman Daniel Levy must decide. A decision is expected soon. Despite that European success, the league form is unacceptable. For a club of Tottenham's size, it's a big call for Spurs. This match highlighted deep issues. The club is at a crossroads. Serious changes are needed. If you enjoyed the analysis, smash that like button, hit subscribe for more match breakdowns, and don't forget to comment below. Who was your man of the match? See you in the next one, football fans. Until then, stay passionate, stay tactical.